chocolate cupcake topped with cream egg buttercream. These cream egg cupcakes are the perfect sweet treat for Easter. To start, we'll need a basic chocolate cupcake recipe, but it'll have a little something extra added in. This is my favourite chocolate cupcake recipe, but if you have your own recipe that you always use, or you would rather use a box mix, that will work as well. Start with a medium-sized mixing bowl and measure out the granulated white sugar. If you would like the full recipe for these cream egg Easter cupcakes, it will be on my website as well as the full measurements listed in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for a chocolate hot cross bun recipe next week. To the sugar, crack in 2 medium-sized free-range eggs. If you store your eggs in the fridge like I do, just take them out 30 minutes before you start baking so they have a chance to come up to room temperature. Measure out half a cup of a neutral oil like vegetable or canola and pour into the bowl. One of the reasons I love this recipe is it uses oil instead of butter, so there is no need for any creaming. Butter has a stronger flavour, so when you're making something like chocolate flavoured cupcakes or cake, you don't want anything competing with the flavour from the cocoa powder. Lastly, add about half a teaspoon of vanilla. Always add vanilla to chocolate baked goods as it really brings out the flavour. Use a whisk to mix everything together until well combined. Set the wet ingredients to the side while we work on the dry. In a larger mixing bowl, sieve in the dry ingredients: the flour, cocoa powder, baking soda and salt. You'll need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour or cake flour and half a cup of cocoa powder. You can use a whisk instead of a sieve here, but I always find cocoa powder is full of lumps, so sieving usually works a lot better. Because this is Easter themed, I think a chocolate cupcake works best, and who doesn't like chocolate cupcakes? Although if you have a different favourite flavour, or you just want to use something like vanilla, you can as well. Also, this chocolate cupcake recipe can easily be used to make a cake. Just bake in one tin for 30 to 40 minutes or until it springs back when pressed. You'll need half a teaspoon of both baking powder and baking soda. The difference? Baking powder contains baking soda as well as an acid to activate it. The buttermilk and cocoa powder in the cupcakes is an acid which activates the half teaspoon of baking soda, meaning the cupcakes are super light and fluffy. Add a pinch of salt to round off the flavours and sieve the ingredients into the large mixing bowl, removing any small lumps left at the end. Next, mix all the ingredients together to make the chocolate cupcake batter. Add half of the wet ingredients as well as half of the buttermilk, you'll need 1 cup, to the dry ingredients. Use a wooden spoon to fold the batter together until the wet ingredients and buttermilk have been incorporated. Follow with the remaining and fold together until just combined. Adding the wet ingredients in half at a time helps to reduce the amount of lumps in the batter, as well as make sure everything is mixed well. Be careful not to overmix, just enough so there is no longer any dry flour, or the cupcakes can turn dry and tough. Line a 12-pan cupcake tin with paper liners and use a 1/4 cup cookie scoop to divide the batter and fill the tins. You only want to fill them 2/3 of the way, and I've found a 1/4 cup works best, so if you don't have a cookie scoop, try using a measuring cup instead. Optionally as well, you can add a mini cream egg to each of the cupcakes, pressing them down into the batter. Bake the cupcakes at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the cupcakes spring back when pressed. Cool the cupcakes completely before decorating. To make the cream egg buttercream, add the room temperature butter to a stand mixer. If you're like me and forget to get your butter out of the fridge, Just cut it up into cubes and it'll be ready to use in about 15 minutes. Whip the butter in a stand mixer or using a hand mixer for 3 to 5 minutes or until it is pale, fluffy and about doubled in volume. This ensures a very light, airy and fluffy buttercream. While the butter is whipping, unwrap and cut up the cream eggs. You'll need 6 cream eggs for the buttercream, plus 6 more for decorating the cupcakes when they're finished. This task can be easier if you get the cream eggs out of the fridge instead of leaving them at room temperature, as the filling will harden, meaning it won't get everywhere while you're cutting. To be honest though, it will get all over your hands, knife and chopping board, so don't put too much thought into it. Cut each egg up into quarters. They will get broken up more when added to the buttercream and set to the side. When the butter is light and fluffy, start to add the icing sugar or powdered sugar. Same thing, just different names depending on where you live in the world. I like to add it in 2 stages, scraping the bowl down in between to make sure everything is evenly incorporated. Beat on high speed for a few minutes before we add the cream eggs. This buttercream has less sugar than my standard buttercream recipe, as you'll get so much sweetness from the cream eggs. Of course, this is an extremely sweet treat for Easter, but if you do still find it too sweet, add only 1.5 cups of sugar. Once your sugar has been incorporated, add in the cream eggs. Turn the mixer to medium speed and beat for 3 to 4 minutes. The cream eggs should break up further during this. It just depends on how lumpy you want the buttercream. Just be aware if you plan to pipe the buttercream, you'll need a large nozzle, as I found it does tend to clog up. If you're just going to use a palette knife or a regular knife to decorate the cupcakes, you won't have any issues. Fill your piping bag with the cream egg buttercream and pipe on a healthy amount. I've used a star tip for these. Drizzle the cupcakes with melted chocolate or chocolate syrup, whatever you have on hand, and finally add 1/2 cream egg. Let me know if you're going to make these cupcakes for Easter. They were so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and I will see you on my next video.